My co-defendant snitched on me. One day we was in a stolen car and the police happened to be chasing us. I'm driving the car. I'm hitting it. I'm going down the road. Police behind us. He couldn't do nothing with me. I was in and out of traffic. I was dipping. I was even on the wrong side of the road going through the cars like, He couldn't do nothing with me. They chased me. We get away. I'm riding on the wrong side of the road, but I know what I'm doing because that was my little strategy. Like when the police chased me, I get on the wrong side of the road, but I was like, I knew how to bob and weave so that I didn't wreck the car. So we get off the interstate and it's about 4 police. They up on them. They pushing it. They pushing them cruisers. And I'm pushing the car we in too. So I messed around and I hit about 2 corners. I shook them. On this side, over here on the right side, was about 5 semi-trucks just lined up. So I told my co-defendant, Chris, I say, Chris, now I'm going to pass by these trucks right here. You need to open the door, get out, and roll up under the truck. Now, I've done this plenty of times, and I got away from the police. So I was trying to teach Chris how to do it. He was like, what? I say, listen, I'm going to slow down a little bit. Open the door. When I open the door, roll out. And roll up under the semi, stay there, and they're going to keep chasing me. And you stay there until they shoot past you, and then you get up and you run, you go, get out of Dodge, get out of sight. I slowed down, he executed the plan. I got down there by 2 stop signs, look back, seeing all these polices. I'm like, dang, now they wasn't chasing me no more. They had them stop where I put Chris out at. Chris done got caught. I'm like, dang. So when he got caught, mind you now, his daddy is the detective of St. Pete Police Department. When they arrested Chris and took Chris to the police station, his daddy started asking him all kind of questions. But now, let me set the scenery. I had been stealing cars and breaking in houses for the longest. They thought I was a boy. Every time they would call in and give a description of the suspects, they was like, it was a white boy and it was a black boy. They both have on hats. And they like 5 foot or something like that. So they never knew I was a girl. Every time they thought I was a boy because I was in that gay life and I had very long hair. What I would do was like have my hair in Snoop Dogg braids, tuck it up, put a do-rag on like this and throw my hat on. I already had that little swag about my little bop. So they thought I was a boy. So they didn't know I was a girl until Chris got arrested that day. When his daddy had him in the interrogation room, he started spilling the beans, telling everything. He was just laying it out for his daddy, giving my real name and everything. He told him about houses we done broke in years ago. I'm talking about he done told him about houses we done broke in that we didn't even ever get caught breaking in the houses. So he done laid everything out for his daddy. And the reason why Chris knew my real name is because we met in a program. And at that program, they used to do the roll call, so we would have to come up and get our tag. So when they call our name, it was a co-ed JAS program, juvenile program, that they send troubled teens to when you keep getting in trouble. It's an outpatient program. Like you go to it, you check in like 3 times a week. They drop urinalysis, and you just see your counselors and everything. So, but they called the roll, so that's why everybody knew everybody's name. So when he told his daddy my name and laid it all out, he gave him all the information. They put a warrant out for my arrest. So I'm going on months and months and months and months and months, and they not catching me. Couldn't do nothing with me. So I'm going on, man, just living life. I'm messing with this little older chick. I'm around about 15 years old at the time. I'm messing with her like older chick and everything. She got her own house, so I'm hiding out there every now and then. So one day, I'm walking down the road, and I'm up at 9th Street. About 4 or 5 police cars come. You just hear them stopping. I look around. I'm like, oh, nah, they finna try me. So this cool guy, black guy, laid back. He had on these alligator shoes. He was fly, Detective White. Now, I've seen Detective White plenty times. When I've gone to juvenile detention center, he be off in the interrogation room. So I look at him. He look at me. I'm like, not today, Satan. I ain't going to jail today. So I started walking. He was like, I ain't finna chase you. I ain't finna chase you. You doggone right you ain't finna chase me because I'm going to run. They eased up off me. See, y'all got to understand, back in the days, the police wasn't like they are today. Those police back in the days, man, they had a little bit more heart, and they weren't on all that taking people's lives and everything. See, they don't think nowadays, but the police back then, you know, they really had a heart for juveniles, and they wasn't trying to hurt us. They leave. They ain't come for me. They leave because they already knew I was going to run, and I know how to run, and I was very fast because they done had encounters with me before. They just didn't know that I was a girl. So they was like, okay, we ain't finna go through all that because we already know how she gonna get down. A couple more months passed by. Police went to my aunt's house or something, and they started questioning her and whatever. They showed the picture, and they was questioning her, and I don't know what she told them. A couple months passed, and they come back up on 9th Street. So it's Detective White and some more cops. Now the cops, they act like they want to get a little froggy, man, and jump. I'm walking down the sidewalk, so they coming all in trying to block me in with their police car. So I look back, and then I saw the civilian car. That was Detective White. He got out. He was like, let me talk to you. I say, nah, man, call your boys down. Tree, let me talk to you. So I was like, nah, man, I ain't going no jail today. I ain't going no jail today. The cops started trying to act a little cocky. So when they was acting cocky, I started getting a little cocky too. I was like, hey, you gonna have to catch me. And you already know you ain't. Because, you know, they got all that stuff on them, man. You know, somebody started running. Listen, I'm running light. That's why the Bible says you got to set aside every little sin that so easily beset you. I ain't have none. You set aside every weight that so easily beset you. I ain't had nothing on me, so I can get it. But y'all got belts and everything with all your little tools and gadgets on it. I already had the advantage, and I was ready to get it. Detective White was like, let me talk to you. He started talking with sense. Now, I already told y'all, I'm God's child. So when you say God, I'ma stop. When you say the Father's name, when you call Abba, I'ma stop. He said, God got a plan for you. I froze. When he said, God gonna turn this thing around for you, I got still. He said, God love you and God wants you to stop doing this. God has greater for you. Tears start flowing. Because when you call my Father name, something shot through me. That demon had to bow down. I started crying, y'all, and he started talking to me about God. Now, I'm in love with God. I mean, I'm young. I really don't know how to serve him or give myself to him, but all I know is that he kept me. He kept me from a lot of stuff that I could have gotten myself in as a juvenile and an adult. Listen, he kept me from the grave. There was a time I went to somebody's house, and I was with my boy, and we was knocking on the door. It was 3 a.m. in the morning. I got an adrenaline rush out of breaking in houses. I don't know what his purpose was. He say, I tell you what, we gonna kick the door off the hinges. I say, shoot, man, you crazy. It's 3 in the morning. He was like, bump that. So he went, bah, bah. One more kick, he would have been in. But sudden came over me, and I heard that voice say, leave that house. I say, man, let's not do it. He was like, one more kick, we in. I'm talking about the door was hanging, almost hanging. One more kick, we in, y'all. I said, man, nah, let's leave the house. He was like, Tree, we almost there. I was like, nah. So I pulled his arm. We got in the car. We found out later on the news, they showed that same house. And it was a big guy standing behind the door, white guy, pot belly. He was on the news, and he was saying how he had his sawed off standing behind the door and was going to blow off the first head that walked through the door, which would have been me. So God covered me. When I was 3 years old, I was in a parking lot. My mom was in the bar doing her thing. She was an alcoholic. She died from cirrhosis to the liver. Alcohol had her. It was a stronghold for her. And I remember being in the parking lot, and I said, it was me and God. There was a big black man, and y'all may not think I can remember this at the age of 3, but I'm telling you, when God is in it, you can remember a lot of things. When God touch you, you'll never forget it. I don't care if you 6 months old. When it's a touch from God, you'll never forget it. It was a big black man in the parking lot, and he came out with a cowboy hat on. And I remember standing by the truck, and I was by myself, y'all. And I looked, and I said, man, I don't want this man to get me. And I felt God come over me, cover me, and pull me to the side. And the man didn't even see me. So I've felt God's presence, the unseen presence of God. So I know when God talks. I know when God is on the scene. And I knew from that moment, God was walking with me. I knew because that presence never left me. So while he ministering to me, Detective White ministering to me, I'm crying because I feel the presence of God. So I know that God is in the midst of this. This is God talking through him. I knew enough to know that, y'all, because I felt him before. And when he was talking, I was feeling God. So I was like, okay. So I started crying. He ministered and I'm crying and I'm breaking. That's when I just put my hand behind my back and went on with the man of God. And I went up the road. And God began to do a work on me. He began to break things off my life. He began to clean things off me. Now, it was a process, but God did it. But watch this. All right, so when I get to court, right? And now I'm standing in front of the judge, no family, no mama, no daddy. I'm just standing up by myself, but not really by myself because God right there. Now you got to understand that God already know the plans he have for me. And those plans are to prosper me and give me an expected future. I want y'all to understand that sometimes when God is trying to get us to the destination, he'll let trouble be your transportation, especially when you don't know which way to go and you need to be guided and you won't move and you just standing still. God know how to get you where you need to be. Like when they threw Joseph in the pit and then he was taken to Pharaoh and he became second in command over Egypt. See, listen, y'all got to understand, trouble is necessary sometimes. So here I am standing in front of the judge, and when that man hit that gavel and he was telling me 40 years of life, the defender whispers to me. He told the judge, give her 5 minutes. He gave me 5 minutes to make a decision. I think you might need to take this plea bargain. I'm like, man, plea bargain? What, 40 years to life for burglary and auto theft? Now, y'all listen, because y'all keep talking about what she was in prison for. I'm telling you, watch the video and listen. So I'm like, dang. He was like, okay, you got to make up your mind. I said, all right, take the plea bargain. Bam, he hit the gavel. 25 years. All right, I got the 25 years. All right, now watch this. Man, listen, y'all just have to trust God in hard situations. The detective, Watson, Chris' daddy, he was in the courtroom. Never told nobody this. He was in the courtroom. He was sitting out there where they sit when they watching what go on. He wanted to see how it all went down. But not only that, but his son had to go to court too. But Chris wasn't in the courtroom at the time. He's supposed to go after me. But he was trying to see how this thing was going to play out for me, how much time I was going to get. He heard the 25 years. I saw the little smile. He cracked that little smile like, yeah, like he was satisfied. He happy. He had done slapped all the charges on me. Chris comes up and get 3 years. So he good. You feel me? He be like, yeah. So he feeling like, yeah, okay. You know, whatever he put in the work. I mean, he slapped some charges on me I ain't even do, y'all. So when Chris got the 3 years, my co-defendant got the 3 years, I got the 25 years, I went on up the road. I ain't feel no type of way about it. I still felt God. I still felt this hand on me. I still felt this love surrounding me. So I wasn't fazed by it. 2 years into the prison sentence. The detectives came to see me. I was in confinement for messing with an officer, a female officer. When they called me down to the conference room, I walked in the conference room, and this is what they said to me. Is Chris your co-defendant? I said, yes, sir. He say, we need you to testify to his character. And I said, what's going on? They said, well, Chris took his bunkie life. He strangled his bunkie, and now he's facing life in prison. I say, what? You mean to tell me this boy went in with 3 years and now he's never coming out? He's facing life in prison. They was like, yeah, he took his bunkie life. Now, this the thing. Chris had 3 years, but Chris couldn't be in general population with the rest of the prisoners because his daddy used to be the detective of St. Pete Police Department. So that put Chris at risk for getting harmed. So they put Chris in a cell to protect him. They slipped up and gave Chris a bunkie in the cell. Nobody knows what went on in the cell. All they know is that he strangled the bunkie. And now Chris is doing life in prison. Let me tell you something. When God is for you, how many? Where they at? Bring them on. Who can be against you? Nobody. Sometimes it may seem like the enemy winning. Sometimes It may seem like the enemy done got his foot in it. Sometimes it may seem like the enemy done got the victory on you. But I come to tell somebody, greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. Our God is greater. Our God is awesome. Because God is the greatest power. We'll never be defeated. I didn't know then that God was working it for my good. I didn't know then that God was protecting me. See, the enemy wanted me to believe what I seen. But the Bible says, the just shall live by faith. We walk by faith, not by sight. For some reason, I believe that that was not my end. Some reason, I believe that this is not the end for me. There has to be a light at the tunnel. There has to be greater for me, because the God I felt at the age of 3 that covered me in the parking lot of a bar was covering me then. And I knew he wasn't going to let it go down like that. I knew he was going to take care of me. But God had to put me in a place to protect me, to chisel me. See, prison for me was the potter's wheel. God had a work to do in me. And now I can stand before you today and declare the goodness of God, declare the deliverance of God, the healing of God. God healed my trauma, my pain, and gave me a new heart. See, he took away the stony heart and he gave me a heart of flesh, even as a little girl, that I would not hold on to unforgiveness. I would not turn bitter from my situation, but that I would come out better. Man, I don't care what it is you're going through. You better trust God. You better trust God. Y'all be blessed now, you hear?